Assistant Commissioner Jukes, what's the biggest threat? We've heard about a number of these different problems that you're trying to grapple with. What is the biggest threat in your mind that faces our nations today?
Well, colleagues have talked extensively about the serious and organised crime threat that we all face, and one of the challenges we pose is that sits alongside a terrorist threat, which is enduring, and the assessment of that threat is remarkably similar from Sydney back to Scotland Yard and all points in between. So we've seen a change away from the large organised terrorist groups towards individuals who are self-initiated, who are radicalised online, finding their ideologies on the internet, low sophistication, ready to attack in many senses tomorrow. And sadly, we've seen a lot of mental ill health in those cases, and tragically, many young people. Young people increasingly drawn not just to twisted religious ideologies, but also to extreme ideological motivations from the far right, for example, and we're seeing more and more of that in our casework. And we should never take our eye off the fact that around the world there are unstable regions, which mean those large terrorist organisations are reforming and talking again about their intentions to carry out attacks overseas.
So in the UK, where does the far right sit in relation to the jihadists? Is it a greater threat now, or is it comparable? How would you put it?
I think in common with colleagues across the Five Eyes, we're starting to see that come into a more or less balanced position. So 41% of the arrests made in the UK last year in relation to terrorism were for extreme right-wing terrorism. 3 out of 4 of the late-stage plots we disrupted were extreme right-wing terrorism. So it's definitely been in the ascendant, and that's a challenge we share with colleagues, which is why it's so important for us to work together. And we talked a lot about that strategic partnership, and Steve made the important point that reflecting this strategic partnership are people on the ground working together. The one place that all of our terrorist networks connect is the internet. And so it's hugely important that we're able to tackle that together and to support our governments and work in public-private partnerships to harden the internet and make it a hostile place for terrorists.